This is part 2 of the Ditch Witch project, which that's what I decided to name it. Thank you for your comment. I really like that name. But this video, we're going to be discussing the course of action I'm going to take with this firearm. See, I was at a pass because the bolt release, it doesn't work. It's broken somehow, so you don't need to push it to cock the bolt. Which isn't bad if the hammer's down, but if it's in half cock, it comes out of the battery all by itself. And I was kind of like, that's not really that big of a deal because it's more of a range toy anyway. Yeah, I could totally be effective with this, but it don't really matter. And the reason I was saying that is because this screw right here, it looks like somebody had tried taking it out and failed miserably, so I'm pretty sure this screw is going to have to be drilled and retapped. And then the heat shield would have to come off, but I was like, what if they didn't parkerize underneath this, I guess you call it a barrel extension, and I don't line it up perfectly, it's not going to look quite right. Because I have to take this off to take apart the shotgun because this is a takedown model. This unscrews, so it's got to go forward, and then your barrel in that turns like this, and it comes off. But then I was looking at it more, and I noticed that the welds on the heat shield are broken. There's only 1 or maybe 2 left on this side that's not broken, so I'm going to actually be re-welding this. I'm going to be using plug welds. Hope you guys see this in frame. So basically what we'll be doing is drilling through the heat shield metal, just really small, not into this metal. I'll probably go in a little bit so I get a good arc. But then you start on the outside, circle in, and I'm going to put two welds right there because I believe that's what it originally had. Then after I have those on there, I'm going to drill the weld on this side because they're looking pretty thin. And I'm going to re-weld this side. And I'm going to do a little bit of touch up on the parkerization. Now at first I was kind of worried, it might look off or something like that, but I'm like, this is a military rifle or shotgun. A combat shotgun at that. A little bit of, it doesn't look quite right, we'll give it more character. And then when I take it apart, I'll be able to fix the pump. Because of the way this one's cracked, what I'll probably have to do is put a bead of glue on the inside and then use a shop vac to suck it through the crack, because you could either spread the wood, but that's kind of dangerous how this one is because it's right next to the hole, and I don't want to spread it and then have it crack all the way across and have it crack down and lose this piece completely, so I'll be using the shop vac method. Now on this back stock, I do believe I'll be able to spread this one. I'll just go in there with a dowel, spread it apart, lay a bead inside, clamp it, clean up the extra, and that'll look pretty good. When I get it apart, the things I need to address is, one, obviously the bolt release. I want this to function because I don't like the fact it can fall out of battery in half cock. Like, see, all by itself, falls out of battery. I don't want to pull up on a dead trigger. So we will be addressing that. And then the pump right here, I don't know if this is normal. If any of you guys own one of these in mint condition, please let me know. But they're slapping it. So I'm going to be addressing that. Then after that, because I'm going to have to drill this screw, I'm probably going to have to... it looks like a pretty common screw. But anyway, I'll have to put that in there. Then I'm going to stake these screws, touch it up with a little bit of park. Obviously, it'll probably look off. If the park on the weld looks way off, then I'll probably just leave the screws alone and I'll replace all of them so they match. And then just stake them in so this barrel extension doesn't come off. Then we'll be looking for a bayonet. I found a rear sling swivel stud, which they actually look kind of common, so I don't think I'll have to actually buy one for this model. But if anybody owns one of these, I have another question. Is it just bolted on the stock, or do they carve it out and recess it in? Because I've seen one picture where it was recessed in, but that was on a New Age clone. Who makes it? Norinco. On the Norinco clone, but I don't know if that was the way it was originally done. So if you could let me know too if they carve it out and, set it in there. I think it's called I don't know what it's called. But anyway, let me know on that. The front, I had absolutely no luck finding a new front sling stud. So what I'm going to have to do, because it's just a wire that bends around and goes in like this, I'm just going to get some spring steel that's the right size, put it in a brake, bend it up, and I'll probably acid etch it so it's got pitting on it and it matches the rest of this, park it, and then put it on. The bayonet, I'm still looking for one of those. I haven't found one yet. I don't really know if I want something in as bad a shape as this because that's an actual chopping edge. I may get a reproduction and make it look bad depending on what prices I can find the bayonet for. Hopefully in the next video we'll be patterning this. As long as it's effective, 90% on a target within like 10 yards, I'll be happy with it. We won't be changing the barrel. But if it's not, then we might have to totally repark the whole entire thing. Because then what we'll be doing is we'll take a barrel, cut it down to 20 inches, recrown it, acid etch it so it's got wear on it, put it back on this. But then we have to repark the whole thing, and I kind of like the age this park has got, so I don't really want to do that. I mean, this has got a pattern completely, like, not usable in order for me to be willing to do a barrel change. The next thing, like I said before, I'm pretty sure the stock was cut down because this butt plate don't fit quite right, so I might trim this butt plate down and then repark the whole plate. Depending on how close of a parkerization I can find to this, it almost kind of looks like a green-gray. Because if I can find that, then I'll do that. If I absolutely can't find anything that matches this, then I may leave the butt plate alone. But as you can see, it sticks out just a little bit. I would like to see that more flush. But anyway, thank you for following along with the Ditch Witch project. The next video should be a shooting video where I test the functionality. Then I also have to find the missing screws for the pump. If anybody has some military stamps I can borrow, the stamps you actually put on, then you hit with a hammer and you stamp the firearm. Because I want to do those on the butt plate. I'm going to leave the receiver alone. I'm not going to do any military stamps on here because I've failed at them miserably when I've tried on other firearms. If I wind up doing markings on this, it will be because for whatever reason I decided I'm going to repark the whole thing, and then I'm just going to get them engraved. I did test this with dummy rounds. They go in and hold just fine. They cycle through the firearm fine. And there's no apparent damage on the firing pin. And there's no structural damage on the barrel. So I don't think this will have an issue actually being a shooter. But anyway, stay tuned for more Ditch Witch project videos. If you'd like to help support the channel, check out my Patreon, which I don't know how much longer is going to stay up because I already got a community service violation on that. Don't forget to subscribe.